friends, welcome to the vlog for day 3 and 4 of Summerween. This is a week-long readathon. If you missed the first vlog, it's up. I'll link it down below. I know I'm not wearing my most spooky festive apparel right now, but when the temperature dips, hopefully later tonight while we're camping, I do have this to pop on, and this gives all the right vibes. So we just got home from a trip, and now we're leaving to go camping. It's extremely hot outside, which I'm not looking forward to, but we're gonna be on a lake. It's gonna be great. If you're keeping up, this was my TBR for Summerween. We had Dead 11, which I read in the first vlog and gave 4 stars. The Haunting of Alejandra, which I gave 4 stars in the first vlog as well. And then I have a short story collection that I'm still continuing to read. In fact, I just read my story to make up for not reading one yesterday, Runaway Blues. And I love that C.G. Tudor is writing an introduction to each short story because that's just something that I love so much. The origin, where the idea came from, why it was in this collection. This one definitely felt inspired by Stephen King, which she mentioned herself in the intro. It was about this guy called the Fat Man who wasn't actually fat. They called him that because he was really skinny and young and has this really deep voice that didn't really fit his appearance, and he sang at this local club, and the patrons who became enamored with him and think that he maybe participated in something bad. It was so good, I'm giving it 5 stars. So that means I'm this much of the way through it. I will continue to read a story a day, so I'm bringing this camping. I don't think I'm gonna bring my last book that I have planned camping because it's called Chlorine and I feel like I should read it by the pool. So I'm gonna wait until we get home for that, day 6 and 7. But I had one other book on my TBR and I read the first chapter and I selected it. And then I came home to a package on my doorstep, which is just perfect timing because we need to leave. This is a cozy mystery. It's the second book in the 2-part sugar, 1-part murder. And my whole thing was I wanted to see what the spine looked like because we have just built such a beautiful little stack, and I'm excited to post it on the final day because of all the prompts. There are reading prompts, but there are also Instagram prompts. And on the last day, you're supposed to post everything that you've read, and I just want such a stunning spine selection. So hopefully this one complements them all perfectly. I haven't seen it in person yet. I know that the cover is blue, and is the spine okay? It's a different blue from Dead 11 for sure, but it definitely adds perfectly to it. It's interesting how like 4 out of 5 of these have lime green or chartreuse yellow, whatever you want to call it, and I think it adds to it perfectly. So I'm going to bring this because how perfect is this for camping? A cozy mystery. I can read it casually by the beach, and I can probably read that in one day. And we're going to be camping today, tomorrow, and the next day. But the 3rd day we will be home, so I can read something then. So on the off chance I read the entirety of Murder is a Piece of Cake today, I want to have another book to read. And we came into town just in time for Mosaic, my local indie bookstore, right before close, and I got so lucky that my pre-orders came in early for both of the other books that I was considering reading for the readathon. We've got The Beast You Are by Paul Tremblay, which is short story collections. So I feel like I can't start this until I finish the other short story collection, so we're gonna put this on the back burner. And I'm gonna bring Sucker with me, which I didn't realize was a hardcover, and such a big hardcover. It's very white, so maybe I shouldn't bring, yeah, I think I'll leave the dust jacket at home. This is a vampire story, and I think it might be the perfect read. We still have some challenges to hit. My own personal challenges, I think we've got all the genres still covered. And then the reading challenges, I have Read in the Dark. I don't know that I've really read a thriller, and I don't know if Sucker would count as a thriller either until I read it and know. Maybe it's horror thriller, or it could just be horror. I'm not sure. I have read a book that takes place partially in fall. I've read a short story collection, which I'm counting for the final prompt, which is just something like reading something that's not a novel is how I'm taking that challenge. And then the book with orange, and I realize it's orange or black on the cover. So even if we don't accept this as being orangey, there is definitely black on it already, but I do want to get to this to fulfill that prompt still. So we have a couple-hour drive now. Maybe if Rob falls asleep, which he usually does, I will actually listen to the audiobook of this because that's how I started it. It's on Scribd. I listened to the first chapter when I was pitting these two against each other in my TBR video. I should actually return this to the library on my way out. And that's it. Let's go. little bit damp. You could blame sweat, but let's just say it's bug spray. I did bring a portable fan this time though, which is very fun, and I think it'll help me sleep, because the hardest thing for me camping is falling asleep at night because there's not enough noise, or it's the wrong noise. Like somehow every single year we get put next to people playing super loud music. In typical Kayla fashion, I brought a whole tripod camping, but I forgot the little clip that attaches the camera to the tripod. But that means that I can take you anywhere. Do you want a tour of the campsite? It's super thrilling. Here are these people. Here's the table. There's Liam's tent. There's our tent. We're gonna have more friends over there. And we got this nice bike rack recently for Liam's giant bike. Now I have gotten very quickly through the first 18 chapters of this. And I think I've been duped yet again by another competition book that's not actually a competition. So this is the second book in a series. In the first one, this woman who is like rich and successful and loves fashion ends up having to move to this small town. She kind of wants to move to this small town too, because her boyfriend or her fiance, he stood her up at the altar or something like that, and they were doing a live stream of their wedding. And so she's super embarrassed, and she's starting this new life in this small town where she inherited a bakery and a house and a dog. And in the first one, it's her just like getting her legs and understanding how to run this bakery. She's not really the one baking. There's people that work there, and it's a successful running business on its own. And then she fell in love with this guy. I remember saying in my review, I gave the first book 4 stars, and I didn't really care about the relationship, but I really wanted to, because in a cozy mystery, I often want there to be a romance subplot, and there was, but I didn't like get to know him enough, and I don't think that's really gonna happen in here either. But what happens in here is at the beginning, she is working at the bakery, and there's another bakery that is going to start across the street, and the guy is basically like, I'm better than you should just close up shop, like I'm gonna crush the business in this small town. And she ends up agreeing to like a competition of who can sell the most and be the most successful bakery, and then the other one will just like close down. But before the competition actually happens, he's dead. So now before she gets implicated for the murder, because obviously who do you think would kill a competition business? People think it's her, and she needs to prove who actually did it. Now at this point, she's just questioning a lot of people. It's following pretty much the same kind of plot as the first book. So she is a amateur sleuth, as is what happens in a lot of cozy mysteries, and it's going good. Tonight we aren't gonna have a campfire or anything because forest fires, but so I made a plan for s'mores. But I saw it on TikTok. It's like you take an ice cream cone and you fill it full of marshmallows and chocolate. So I have a bunch of marshmallows and chocolate, and I'm hoping that they're not melting currently in the vehicle. And then you're supposed to like wrap tinfoil around it and put it in a fire, but we're not gonna have the fire at all. So I'm thinking it's hot, and I think it's like 33 degrees. So if we just wrap them in tinfoil and leave them out, they will get ooey and gooey, and then it's like an ice cream cone s'more, and hopefully that works out for our treat tonight. Treats tomorrow are to celebrate Liam's birthday. We have more people coming out, and we have little cheesecakes and stuff. I don't know why I'm telling you all of this, but we have a little bit of time before other people arrive, so I'm gonna continue in this and probably lounge in my comfy chair. I got quite inebriated last night and forgot to update you. Everyone is still asleep, but this is the only time you're gonna see me in my sweater, because the sun is coming out. It's like right through the tent into my eye, and it's going to get very hot again, but the night was chill. Our friends actually ended up bringing a camp stove or a campfire. It's just gas, so you're allowed to have it and it can't create any sparks or anything. So I got to have my s'more ice cream cones properly. And by me, I mean all of the children that I definitely brought it for them, not for me. I also finished my book. It was definitely a fast read, faster than the first one, and less substance than the first one. I don't think it took what the first book did and now it's building on it and getting to know characters better or doing anything greater. It's just kind of the same classic mystery, which maybe I'm just woke up and shouldn't be just trying to discuss this with you, because that sounds like exactly how a cozy mystery series should go. Anyway, let me get more of my thoughts together. I think we're gonna go to the beach. My fan died in the middle of the night, the battery, and then my phone died, and then the air mattress deflated, so my ass is currently on the ground. And now we're gonna do it all again for day number 2. looks like I've been crying. It's because we just went swimming in the lake. And then we drove into the city and somebody honked at me in the parking lot and then I cried. Don't worry about me, I'm fine. We're just getting pizza for everybody because people came up for Liam's birthday, so we did the birthday celebration, and now we need pizza, and the closest city that actually could make us like 6 pizzas was 40 minutes away. So here we are, but we're also at Canadian Tire buying an inverter because I can't charge anything. And I wanted to update you on my book. So Sucker is interesting. I'm 100 pages in. We definitely haven't gotten into any vampire-y stuff. I didn't even really remember what this was. I just remember it piqued my interest, so I bought it. I pre-ordered it, which is not usual for me in an author that I've like never read from before, or a synopsis that doesn't super intrigue me. I just remember like there was enough there and it was vampire-y. And since I don't have the dust jacket and my phone has not been charged, I can't look up the Goodreads synopsis now and tell you what it's about. But what I can tell you is there's a woman. Okay, so we have a main character who is a man. His name's Charles Grosshart, but he goes by Chuck Gross, and he has this really rich family. And then there's this woman who runs this business, and I don't know enough about Elizabeth, whatever the fuck her name is, to know if this is based on her or if like it's an original story or if a lot of people have done what she has done. But there's a woman in here whose name I can't remember now, Olivia, and she has this business called Kenosis, and it's basically like this data chip that you put in your body, and it can tell, I think her goal is like it can tell you if you're sick, and then eventually the goal is that the chip can also dispense like a medication into your body. Her whole hope is that it basically causes immortality or cures the illness of aging or death. We haven't really got into much about like if it's actually accomplishing anything or if it's creating vampires. Did I invent that this is about vampires? I don't know. It hasn't gotten scary or even mysterious. Right now we've just learned a lot about our main character's failing kind of business. He runs a label like for music, and he hasn't paid his artists in a while, so he gets brought onto this Kenosis company as like the creative director. I can't remember exactly what they hired him for, but wasn't creative director because that is like a real thing, but it was something that is just like a label, and basically they wanted his parents' money to support this business, and he gets like a vanity job title along with it. And it's just about him and his relationship with Olivia and him and these artists and him owing money. And it's been interesting enough. Like the writing has been fine. I think I thought it would be more satirical and funny, and maybe it is if it's based on what I think it is, but like my frame of reference is so small that perhaps I'm not even getting all of the satirical impressions that I should. But I read that. We went to the beach. We've just been hanging out, and I feel like this vlog is gonna be such a fail because I also haven't said anything more about the baking book, just because I really honestly had no takeaways. I didn't dislike it, but I didn't find the mystery incredibly compelling. But me and cozy mystery sequels have never been like such a huge win anyway, so it was probably a mistake on my part and has led to me just not being able to give a really good book review for it, because like nothing was surprising in it, just because you know the small town and you know all the characters, and it is just her interviewing all of these people and trying to figure out who killed this person, and that shouldn't be a negative quality, right? Like me and Cozy Mysteries were so confused. I don't know what we're doing together, but I do know that I desperately need coffee, and so it's a good thing we came all the way out to this town, but now everybody's back at the campsite waiting for pizza, and I don't know if I'm gonna finish this book today. I don't know what's going on, honestly. Oh, that's so spooky. I'm so sorry. I finished Sucker, and I just wanted to update you while everyone's falling asleep. I didn't like it. Also, I wouldn't recommend it for anybody if they're trying to read it for Summerween. It's not quite the vibe, but I'll talk to you more about it tomorrow. But then I have to start a whole nother vlog. This one's a wash. I'm so sorry. After all my trash footage and not me wanting to post this vlog because I just don't like the books and I feel ugly, we just got home and I unloaded some of my camping stuff, and now I have to head to like my parents' house to drop off some more of my camping stuff because it doesn't fit in my house. The cherry on top is that I grabbed the wrong camera somehow as I left the house. My old ass shitty sound Canon G7X. Luckily it had a memory card in it, but very weird of me. Okay, I need to give you the wrap up because now technically I'm supposed to be entering the last vlog, day 6 and 7, but I haven't updated you at the end of this vlog. Hopefully in the next one you see me kick it off swimming, because right after I drop this off, I think I'm gonna go to the pool, barring good weather, because also the weather's making my aesthetic footage questionable. Anyway, I felt like you deserved a final review for Sucker, even though I don't want to give it, because I'm probably gonna give it like a 1 star. So I grabbed the dust jacket on my way out of the house. I really don't even know how to talk about this. Like, I feel bad about it. If I wasn't doing this for a vlog and I hadn't already planned to post a certain amount of vlogs and had this all organized, like I literally would have firstly DNF'd it, but I didn't have any other books with me camping, and my phone was dead, so I couldn't like listen into an audiobook, and I wanted to complete a book. But I also might have just went ahead and scrapped the vlog, because I don't feel like I've given you anything quality as of yet, and this is not going to change. So I understand what this book was doing. It's poking fun at like the tech industry and the health industry, and all the references are ones that I understand enough to get it. It's just unfortunate that a book that is labeled as satire did not elicit a single laugh from me, and I really should have trusted and looked into the Indigo shelving rather than Goodreads, because the Goodreads is not accurate. But I still could have liked that book. Like, let me try to be clear here. The Pallbearers Club is something that's a vampire-y story, but isn't. And I love it so much. So the fact that this I thought was a vampire story, and I mean, the concept of the book, creating immortality, and then like maybe 30 pages of it, that feels all a little vampire-y, sure. There was a culty dark underbelly, there was an underground situation, but it was dull, and it wasn't dull because it lacked vampires, it was just dull. It could have been like a mystery. There is a mystery in here. At the beginning of the book, somebody goes missing, somebody that he has on his label. Sucker is actually a reference to the name of an album that he wants to promote and get this band success, and then somebody goes missing. And it could have been like a solving the mystery thing, but that didn't even need to be a portion of the book for it to still tell the same story. Like, that literally didn't matter. It could have been like this intense family drama because he comes from this evil rich family and he's trying to escape it, but like, is he, or is he still giving into all the privileges that come along with it? And these are things that he recognizes throughout the book. I see how some people could enjoy, and I sometimes and often even enjoy, an unlikable character who's self-aware, who's poking fun at themselves, is a little tongue-in-cheek, but I don't know, I just didn't like his vibe at all, and it could have carried the book. Like, narrative voice really can carry a story even if it has no plot and no substance, but it didn't land for me in any way. It was dull at the end of the day because it just felt like a workplace drama. He's working as this consultant, he's constantly having these just like hallway conversations and peeking out windows and seeing other people having corridor conversations and talking about how he's going to keep his job, if he's going to lose his job, who he can trust, who the creator, the brand can trust, if the brand is actually legitimate or if all of this is falsified information. There was a little bit of like animal cruelty that gave an unsettling scene. There was one unsettling scene, and I thought from there we were going to really take off, and we didn't. Instead, there's just a lot of talk of money movement and diabolical business practices, who's fucking who in the office and what drugs he's done in his past. I did not care for it in any way, even outside of it not being what I was expecting. So we might land at a 2 for like some respect, but I don't know. And then on the drive home, I decided to finish A Sliver of Darkness because, no, I didn't. I decided to finish it and I didn't quite get there. I think I'm one story from the end because I turned on the audiobook while I was driving. So I am going to read the final story in the final vlog, but I read The Completion, which was another like end of the world society collapsing kind of story that I gave a 4. And then we had The Lion at the Gate, which is about a lion and a cage, and I could see what it was doing, but it was fine. Then we had Gloria, which I liked. This one was a combination of a couple of CJ Tudor's books. Like, she took characters from other books and put them into just like a conversation, and I thought it was interesting, even though I don't feel like her characters are super vivid to me. I think I like this author mostly for atmosphere and like actual storytelling more so than how she builds characters, because I don't remember a lot of them really well. So it was fun to come back to them. Then I read I'm Not Ted, which was very short and very weird, as the intro promised, and I loved it. I gave it a 5. Then we had Final Course, which was another end of the world scenario, and I really liked that one. Oh, and then I just realized Butterfly Island is the one that I already read, which is why I wanted to pick up this anthology, and I gave that one 4 or 5 stars when I read it. So I actually only have one story left to read tomorrow. It's called The Coffee Shop. I'm going to preemptively give this a 4 star. I think if you averaged up all of my ratings at this point, that's what it would get. And for a short story collection, that's pretty great. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this vlog. I know it was a little bit messy, but now we're home, and hopefully my last 2 days of the readathon are full of super successful books and great vlogging opportunities. I don't know. Bye. I hope your Summerween is going well.